Hi, this is Brandon Smith with the Tioga Arts Council. Gonna tie a fly tonight. One of those things that you can do when you're stuck inside during COVID-19. So we're gonna start with well, I don't know what this fly is called. I made it up a few years ago. It's kind of a take on multiple patterns. So it's kind of a hodgepodge. I think it looks a bit like a sculpin minnow, a bit like a crayfish. We have both of those in the Wego Creek and in the Susquehanna River. So this fly works really good with trout and smallmouth bass. So starting with a size 4 streamer hook, 2XL, and a little brass cone. Stick that on there first. Stick her in the vise. Thread color I don't think really matters with this fly just because everything's going to get covered up. But you need something that's a little stout. I like the 210 denier flat wax because that gives me enough that I can put some pressure on this fly. Let's see, we're going to put a little marabou in the tail for some action. Go with kind of a light brown. Trim some of the garbage away. About the same length as the hook shank. Try to get that on there nice on the top. And lash it down real good, wrapping forward. I like to put a little flash in this, so we're going to put a little copper in it. Put those in on the sides. Just trim them a little bit longer than the tail. Also going to put in a couple hackle feathers on both sides to kind of emulate either barring on a minnow or little smolts, and it also kind of suggests crayfish claws. So we'll need these extended about this a little bit longer than that tail we tied in. Again, we don't have to worry about much going on inside here because it's all going to get covered up here shortly. Just make sure it's tight. Now we'll wrap the body with a lighter color. What's this stuff called? Flash material of some sort. Polar reflector flash. We don't have to go crazy there. We still got to leave room for the head. So we'll just tie that off with 3 or 4 turns. Now we'll do another plume of marabou on the wing. Select a pretty full one. Still going to trim out that garbage. We want that to pretty much almost extend back to the tail, about halfway down that other tail. sure that's cinched down good. Now, over the top of that is a mallard flank feather dyed wood duck. It's kind of got that light brown. You can see it's kind of got a curve to it. It's going to lay over the top of that, kind of rolls over, and that helps move this fly around underneath the water. Also suggests kind of that shell back on a crayfish. So we want that about the same length as the upper wing. And we want to tie it in as about flat on top as we can do it. Pin that guy on there. And we've left some space here. This is where we're going to fill in with some head material to build up kind of that bulbous head of the sculpin or creek chub minnow, or even the butt end of a crayfish, because typically crayfish will go backwards when they're swimming and floating around in the water. So this bulbous head's going to kind of look like the rear end of the crayfish. So we're just going to take some wool. This is kind of two colors blended together, a little bit of a cream and a little bit of a light brown. And we just kind of keep pulling that apart until we get our fibers lined up, roughly going the same direction. Pick apart or pull out anything that's really gobbed up there. When we're happy with the blend of colors, I'm going to cut that in half. We're going to save 1/2 for an additional stack. We're going to do 2 stacks on this head. So I like to lay it and kind of veil it around the entire fly. And then just a couple good wraps. We don't want to wrap too much. We'll pull our thread through and up in front of it again. We'll take that other stack. We're going to try to get that cinched down in between the first stack and the cone. We may have to move it around a little bit because we want that to go 360 around the hook. And wrapping in front of it. A lot of these flies have a a muddler style head, which is out of deer hair. I think that floats too much. I like this fly to sink and kind of work on a jigging action, so we have the cone head up in front, and then this wool, once it does absorb water, it tends to help sink the fly so that we're getting it down to where the fish are. And we're just going to whip finish this. Make sure we're tight. Take a comb and just kind of pick this stuff out. And now we got it going every which way and all sorts of lengths of fiber or whatever. Once we got it tucked out like that, we're going to cut it at kind of an angle to the hook point. And on the back, we just want to bleed this into the rest of the fly, kind of off of that cone head. Take a little more off that cone head on the bottom there. And I usually leave some of that stuff kind of veiling over the back, and it helps just create continuity in the fly. So when it's all said and done, from the bottom, which is typically where the fish is going to attack it from, you can see the two little pinchers. We have a lighter belly, which most of your natural baits are going to have a lighter belly than on the top. We're darker on the top. We got that that curve to the feather there. That helps kind of move the fly around. And then this head to push. It has kind of a crayfish shape to it. Need help naming it. So, cheers.